What is going on, my REI geniuses? Welcome back to another master class here on a Wednesday night. And we have a guest with us tonight. You guys provide a warm welcome to Miss Miranda Joyner, brand consultant, author, speaker. What am I leaving off?
Brand consultant, author, speaker. That's enough. That's enough.
Oh, there. Awesome. I had the pleasure of meeting Miranda a little bit over a year ago when I was speaking down in Jackson, Mississippi, and she did a phenomenal job talking to the audience there. And it was only fitting to bring her back to you all and provide some value tonight. So I'll let her introduce herself and then kind of come her own way, and then we'll ask some questions and kind of go through because I'm all about the brand. I'm gonna put you on the spot and kind of give me like a kind of on the spot assessment of my brand. Let me know what I need to improve on, and because I know that's the thing that I really push with my mentees and those that I consult. Is like, hey, you got to realize that in this era that you are your brand starting out, and then just figuring out what's the right way to properly represent yourself, especially as a real estate investor. What does that look like, and how you can separate yourself or distinguish yourself from the rest of the crowd and stand out for whatever the value is that you provide to people. So looking forward to
Yeah,
it.
I agree. I'm here for the Johnny on the spot. My favorite is audience engagement and crowd participation. So I love it when I can have somebody right on the spot, and I tend to think rather well on my feet. Now I say that now, and then I mess around and get stuck like the little guy in the video who, when she asked him to recite the poem, he got hung up. Have you ever seen
Mm.
that video? It's the funniest video ever.
I had seen that one.
I'm gonna send it to you. They went
Okay.
live on television, and he's a poet. He wrote books, and she was like, "Do you want to do one of your poems?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then she said, "Okay, let's go." And he was like, "We live right now?" And she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I, uh, I've been on the game," and then he just froze. It's the funniest video ever. It never
Oh,
gets old. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. So,
hey
so do
now.
you want me to just right? Would you like me to just introduce myself and roll right into it?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right. Well, sweet. Well, I guess the best way to introduce myself, I know in my slides, and you can bring up the slide, Johnny. That's fine. In my slides, I have a point in there where I
Okay.
talk about who I am as a person. But I think it's always good to start with background and story for people who might not be familiar with me, which probably is a good bit of your audience, just to tell you a little bit about my background and where I come from. But I want to I guess I'll jump to that when we get to the slide rather than ramble. But the thing I want to talk to people tonight about, especially when it comes to the real estate audience, because majority of this audience tonight is going to be in the real estate community. A lot of the issues that I see when I look at realtors in general is that it's so easy to copy what the next person is doing. It is one of those industries where everybody kind of looks carbon copy. Everything kind of feels aesthetically the same. And so there's this real hard struggle I see in the real estate space for people to stand out because the work is so um, it's similar, so similar, what everyone is doing. And so it becomes one of those situations where people are struggling to find a very unique position. So tonight I want to talk about mindset a little bit, very briefly, because I think that no matter what information I give you, that mindset matters. How you look at this and how you feel about the information that I give you tonight is going to make all the difference in whether you use it in an impactful way. I can sit up here and talk and give you information all night, but at the end of the day, if mentally you one don't believe what I'm saying, or two aren't able to open up your mind and shift to a more positive, believing that it's going to work, actually applying the thing that you do, you're not going to apply it and it's not going to work, and you're going to be right here in the same spot that you're sitting in, frustrated and irritated about your brand and how you connect to your audience a year from now. And if you don't want to do that, then tonight is the night for you to do something different. So this is titled The Big Three because in the work that I've been doing with my clients, I over the years, I discovered that ideally there are three big buckets that I like to say that people fall into when it comes to issues with their brand, right? Or just with their business in general. And that's mindset, organization, whether it's organization of the messaging, organization of their business, the back office, setting up systems, any of that organization wise, they're struggling there, or there's a branding issue in the way that they show up, their communication, they don't have a strategy, there's no marketing plan, there's all these things that surround their brand just kind of are like, they're kind of having it or moving through it. So that's what we're going to
Hold
tackle
on, hold
tonight.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. So
Yeah.
we supposed to have a plan for marketing?
I mean, you should have a plan for everything.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. I just
supposed to
wanted to
have a
put stuff. I
plan.
wanted to put stuff that to make sure people caught that you're supposed to have a plan when it comes to marketing, a business
But
plan. And,
but well, let's talk about it because I'm a slow roller. I mean, you said your audience like to talk. I'm a slow roller. We could treat this like a podcast instead of like a me standing in front of an audience presenting. Because since you brought it up, I think one of people's biggest issues with the plan. Let me ask you, Jen, what do you think
hmm,
people's biggest hangups? Why do you think people don't plan? Why do you think?
it's not taught. It's not, I think
You
that's the
think?
biggest thing. It's not taught. The
Mm,
because you think about it, just simple things like you'll build a grocery list, you'll plan out a vacation, but when you think about where you want to be 5, 10 years from now, nobody ever thinks to write that down or goal set or even give it. It's an afterthought. And so I think I
yeah.
don't know if it's distractions or what it is. Have you kind of did any research or kind of seen what's the driving factor for why people don't plan appropriately?
Well, I won't say I've done my research. I just trust what I see on a regular basis. Like I'm a pattern follower, you know. I like human research. Like I do my own data analysis and research. I look at patterns in people. I look at reoccurring conversations, questions, concerns, and what I've seen. And to give you my database, I've been working for myself as a full-time brand consultant for November makes 5 years for me. And in
Okay.
5 years, I have worked with hundreds of small business owners. And when I say hundreds, one on one, almost about 200 in the one on one capacity,
Okay.
hundreds in the aspect of workshops, training classes, events that I've spoken at and had side conversations, project management things that I've done with my clients. And so at that point, I've had reoccurring conversations, as I'm sure you do when you're selling real estate, right? These reoccurring hangups. You already know what the issues are going to be before you get there. And what I have discovered is that most people are just really scared of failure. And a lot of people, I think, are scared to plan because they
Mm,
feel like if they put something down, they feel like if they don't get to that thing, that it is equivalent to failing instead of planning and saying that they can, because people don't plan with the idea that we're going to pivot, that I might not make it to that destination, that the destination might change. People are very uncomfortable with that. That most people feel like when they put down a plan that I got to get to this thing right here. And I don't think we're taught, just to go back to your point, that when we plan, that we also need to plan to be prepared for the plan to change as we move through it. And most people they don't even grasp that
right.
as I'm building my business could pivot, I could shift and things could alter. My business could have a shift, that I could start out doing one thing for my audience and my audience tells me, no, I really need this. And I need to be flexible enough and okay with letting go of my original plan and say, oh, if we want to grow, we need to lean into this and do something
Yes.
different.
Yep.
I
No,
think that's why people
100%.
don't plan. Yeah.
Yep, no, 100%. And as an entrepreneur, if you don't do that, your business is gonna die because the speed of
Yeah.
business is changing and it's evolving so fast that even just from where I've from starting my coaching business to now, with the changes with the way that we present information, the packages, how we package everything up, how we present to the group, and how people learn, it's like you got to continuously evolve.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me. And so I think that's the thing. In the Air Force, we say flexibility is the key to air power. That that the enemy has a vote, that you have a plan, but what are you gonna do when you meet contact, and then you have to adjust and plan B,
Yep.
plan C. And so I think that's the thing, that we have to be flexible in our approach and know that it's gonna change, but have enough resolve in the first initial plan to move out with having 100% solution.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just to feel the fear, like they say, and do it anyway. So, yes, I think that is why people don't plan. I think it is good to have a plan and to be open to the flexibility of it. And that goes with real estate as well. To move into this with a plan and to be flexible enough to shift as you grow. So, good. I love it that right now from the first live, we starting off with great conversation. So I know this is going to be a good live. All right. So here is some of the content in my slides. I want to change your life. Okay. I want to make you have some aha moments. Okay. I want to make you say, what? Okay. You see where this is going. Okay. So hopefully, as we're talking tonight about branding, about real estate, about how to show up in your business better, about how to connect to your audience, that you're having some things, the moments where you're saying, I need this information, or that's something that I never knew, or now I get it, right? So all of these things, I went on and on. I kind of leaned into it, but you get the idea that tonight and during this presentation or this conversation, that you'll have some moments where you'll be able to see the vision and ready to get it moving. All right. All right. So, long story short, oh, there's a little lap over there with the transition, but I'll read through this. So, I have a background, just to give you a little background on me, for those of you who might have never seen me before. I am a former radio personality. I worked in radio for 14 plus years. I also hosted and branded an open mic that has run here for, at this point, this slide is a little dated at this point. This was pre-COVID slide. This was at this point, it's been going 10 years because I'm taking my COVID years, even though we weren't live, we were virtual. So I hosted an open mic for 10 plus years, managed talent and helped them to get on the Comedy Central, True TV, and Essence. And then on September 22nd of 2018, I quit my job and started my full-time business November of that year. I worked with hundreds of small business owners. I wrote and self-published a book in 5 months. And you can find that on Amazon, Apple, Walmart, and all those good sites there as well. And so a lot of the work that I've been doing with small business owners has informed everything that I feel about marketing and branding, along with my own personal development and growth and training. And so I'm really excited to be able to share some of that with you tonight. All right. And I want, if we can, Johnny, can you see when people are asking questions? Can you see them, or will I be able to see them as well? I just want to make sure.
Yep,
Um,
I can see them, and then I'll add them to the stream, so they'll come up on screen.
Great. Awesome. So right now, if you're watching, what I want is any questions that you have and came and preloaded with, I want you to drop them down in the comments right now, because I want them to already be there so that I can see them, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to answer some of your questions as I talk. But I really would like, if you have questions, if you came with a burning question or something that was challenging in your business or brand already, go ahead and drop it down below. And that way I can address it as I'm talking, and we won't have to wait till the end or till there's a pause in it. Just in case you got to go cook, put the kids to sleep, I don't know, do your hair. If you got natural hair, you got to roll it up. That's the whole 2 hour process. I understand. Okay. So just go ahead and drop those questions and I'll try to answer them. And then also, if you can tell me, too, what is your biggest challenge? If you don't have a question, then tell me, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to your brand as a real estate agent? What is the space that you are hung up on right now as a real estate agent? Drop that in the comments for me now. Okay, this one says,
Yep,
where
we
should a
got.
person's, yeah, I see it. You want to read it?
No, no, go ahead. I was gonna let you know too that we got some investors. The investors jumping in already too. So
I
the
love it.
agent side and the investor side as well too, for the audience.
Okay.
So
Okay, good, good, good. I love it. So this says, where should a person start when it comes to branding as a first-time real estate investor? So a person start with branding. Where should a person start with branding? So before I get into the mindset, organization, and the branding, let me answer this question. One of the things about uh, your brand and about starting from the beginning is one of the biggest things you need to do is to be able to identify what one your unique positioning is, right? To understand what value that you offer to the audience, to your audience specifically. And then the second thing is to really identify who is your audience. Um, these are places to start before you even start creating all of the visual, physical aesthetics of your brand, before you start thinking about social media, before you start thinking about business cards, before you start thinking about a website. The first thing you need to think about is what unique thing that you provide to your audience. And when I say unique thing, not just the fact that you're an investor and you're giving them money, it's what is this emotional need that you're meeting for your audience? And then who is this person specifically that is your person, ideally? And not just anybody that needs money. And the answer is not everybody. It is a very specific type of person that you are able to help. You think about your ideal client that you've worked with, and then duplicate that person and make that person your ideal profile person. And you talk and go after this person every single day in everything you do. Then you start to build your brand upon that. So that's the first thing that I would think about. What is, the thing that you are offering uniquely to your audience, and then who is this person specifically? Of course, it's going to be a person looking for a home, but what kind of person looking for a home? You can really niche down in any specific brand. Are they in commercial real estate? Are they in, residential? Like, where is this person, and who are you targeting? It's also very important to understand and know that you're not eliminating everybody else when you start to narrow this down. But this is the foundational part that everybody skips because they go right to the photo shoots and the look and the feel, and they get out there and they don't know exactly who they're talking to, what they're saying to them, or what their person's needs are, and where they're stuck, what their challenges are. And these are the conversations that you're wanting to have through your marketing. You want to have conversations about the struggles this person is having. You want to have conversations about their challenges and their hangups. And more than just conversations, you want to be the solution to it through your marketing, helping them out, aiding them. And we're going to get into that as we go through this. But that's where I would start with identifying those two things. Okay. All right. So this is rebranding. I have a rebranding list that I have. I'm going to save it because I don't want to dump too much on the front. I want to roll through these slides a
Okay.
little bit. And then after I run through mindset, I'm going to answer this question about rebranding. So hold that question for me, Johnny, and then I'm going to go there. But for Henry, I
Okay.
want to make sure that I answered your question. Henry, was that helpful? Drop down in the comments. Let Johnny know if that's helpful as I click to the next slide. Johnny, just chime in and let me know. All right. So this previous slide is the big three: mindset, organization. You're right, agree. Okay, good. Good. Mindset, organization, and branding. Like I said earlier, these are the three areas that I want to tap on tonight. But I also want to dig deep into the question specifically about the real estate market and how you guys can differentiate yourself or stand out in the market as a real estate agent. In my book, ironically, Johnny, one of the stories that I tell is about one of my clients who was a former educator who turned into a brokerage, and now she runs a real estate academy. And so,
Oh, wow.
I think that's really cool. I talk about one of my clients who was a real estate agent, and moves in that space. So I'm really excited that I have this audience tonight. So let's talk about the mindset. What I talked about earlier was fear. And as you can see here, sometimes when these PowerPoints transition over, they kind of lap over each other, but I know what it says. So we'll go through here. And I want to talk about mindset. And Miranda, it's like, you're here to talk about branding and help me with my brand. Why are we talking about mindset? Again, I want to go back and reiterate how important your mental focus is when it comes to the work that you do. Most small business owners and organizations do not make it to the 5-year mark. I don't know if you know this, but the statistics show that 45 to 50% of small business owners do not make it past 5 years. And I know that without a doubt, it is because majority of them fall off because of mindset. Now, I'm sure there's a whole, other list of reasons people don't make it, financial hardships, issues, but the majority don't have the mindset that it takes to be successful because they're looking at things from the wrong perspective. They're looking at things from the wrong way. They're not seeing the solution and they're looking and focused on the problem. They don't have
Dang.
problem solving skills in their arsenal because they aren't practicing them, because they don't realize as a small business owner, you are a problem solver. And they're looking at the problems as feeding them data to say, maybe you shouldn't do this, as opposed to looking at the problems that say, oh, this is here for me to figure out and move beyond. Right. And so sometimes when our mindset is worked down so much by things that are just a part of business, some people tap out and say, oh, I'm not built for this, but it's because their mindset isn't right. So I want to encourage people to manage their mindset. And then also another factor I think too is people get burnt out, right? They get overwhelmed and they get burnt out and they tap out as well. And so there are things you can do to manage your mindset, from the way you view your business and move through business, and then the way you manage, being overwhelmed and burned out. There's so many different ways to manage mindset, but this is not a mindset class. I do those, but we're not going to dig deep into that tonight. But here are three fears that I often bring up to help people to identify the fear. I think one good thing we can touch on tonight when it comes to mindset is, if you can identify the fears in that come up with you in business, then maybe you can manage them, right? If you can start to be aware of them. And what I've learned is that most people are fearful of these three things. They're either fearful of failure, right? And my philosophy on failure is not that failure. Well, people say, fail fast and fail hard, but I'm of the mindset that failure is just data and information to show us, right, what we need to be doing differently. What looks like failure is really just information and data telling us, oh, don't try this, try something else. That didn't work. This is something else. I often tell people to treat their business like scientists treat their work, and to keep trying. They fail. They have more failures until they get to that one thing that actually works when it comes to scientific experiments. Their life is repeat failures.
But the crazy part is that's so orthogonal to how we act as society, how we're all brought up through K through 12 with schooling, that we have to
Yes.
go through the process that you can't get an F, you got to get 100, you got to perfect, you got to study for the test. And now you get out here in the real world, and guess what? You don't have the answers, you don't have the playbook. You just kind of going through the motions. And when you see a failure and you get an F in real life, that you take that L, that people don't know how to bounce back. They don't know how to deal with it, and so that's something powerful that I think just in society in general, that we just don't teach people how to fail. And I think that's one of the things when you look at like China and technology and how they're able the last couple of decades, with how they've been able to fail fast and just continue to innovate and learn from their failures. I think another perfect example is SpaceX, that they came from an industry with the space industry, which I see with my day job, that nobody had ever thought that you could launch something and put it in orbit in space and actually return the first stage rocket body back to the ground safely and be able to reuse it. Because that was over 50% of the cost of a launch was right there. So he was able to figure it out. And they would fail, they crashed over and over again, and eventually now they've had multiple years of straight success with no failures. But that's something that's just so, orthogonal to everything that we're taught in society, that it takes a lot to get out of that mindset.
It does. It's a conditioning, right? It's a conditioning that we've been set into motion. You're exactly right. And one of the things that we have to do is unlearn that behavior by practicing the opposite, right? We have to unlearn that behavior of, especially for minorities, of identifying with failure, because we do it, I think, in an overwhelming rate. We identify with failure. Something goes wrong, it becomes a part of who we feel like we are as a person, right? Because we're seeking identity so much,
Mm.
and so we cleave to it, and so we're terrified of it. Like, a friend of mine who's Salvadorian, she was saying, we were talking about something about games, game night. And I said, oh yeah, it gets real serious. And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, every time I go to like a black people's like, game night, it's like intense. She said, it's I said, let me explain something to you. We identify with failure, so it's like life or death for us. We're not gonna
Right,
lose. Because then we become a loser.
right.
That's our
Okay.
identity.
Bring the spades out. Bring the spades out if you want to. It's gonna get intense.
Yes,
But
but
no, you're
when you think
100%
about
right.
the layering of that, right? So it's like it gets intense because it feels personal. And for a lot of people, it is personal. And we have to remember that, that saying of how you do one thing is how you do everything. There's a little bit of that in everything we do. So when it comes to business, we're scared of failing. But again, we have to recondition how we look at failure, because there's not really failure. There's a conference in Silicon Valley, where and this is a tech friend of mine talked about this when we were interviewing her, and she said that it's called FailCon. I think it's called FailCon, and it's where they take failures and look at what you can learn from them and then grow from them, right? And so there's this whole culture of trying to help people to understand that failure is necessary, or things not working out is just data and information, and we have to adapt that mindset. So I like to pose the question to ask yourself, instead of running from fear or trying to be fearless, bless you, bless you. I see you sneezing. You got to start juicing. You got the allergies over
Thank
there.
you,
Just start juicing, and
man.
it'll get rid of it.
We battling over here.
I see. But most people try to run from failure, or they want to be fearless. And I pose the question to ask yourself the question, instead of running from fear and failure, to ask yourself, how do you dance with fear? Right? So, how do you engage when it shows up in your life? How do you lean into it? Fear is here to inform us, right? So, sometimes it's here to bring us, information that's good, because we wouldn't be fearful if when we were about to do something good, if fear wasn't just information, right? We're fearful when something good is about to happen. We're about to go on stage and speak to thousands of people and help them, and people get scared and terrified, or you're about to get married and you're scared, or you're about to lean into a thing and you're scared, or fear is here to protect you. And so, how do you dance with fear when it shows up? The second thing is fear of what others think about you. Okay. If we could fail in private, we would fail more often. I think a big part of failure is other people being able to see it and say, oh, this is who you are, or I knew you didn't X, Y, and Z. And so the goal then becomes to just minimize that voice and understand that most people are judging people that aren't doing that are trying and not succeeding. Most of those people aren't doing anything. And so what they think about it really should be at a minimum level. The people that are actually out here trying and putting themselves at risk and are on the same level as you, those are the people you should
Hmm.
care about. And if they're judging you, then it lies in insecurity. You got to understand where this stuff stems from, right? So that at the end of the day, the judgment doesn't come from a good place ever, ever. And so we just have to minimize what other people think. And then the last one is being afraid to believe in yourself. All right. To really think about how you believe in yourself. What do you say to yourself about yourself? What comes out your mouth about yourself? What do you believe? How do you practice managing your own thoughts about who you are and what you believe? When you talk about your business, do you minimize it? When you speak about the success and the things that you've done, are you minimizing it, or are you avoiding those conversations? How do you remind yourselves of the wins in your life so that it can build your confidence, so that you can believe in yourself for the next time? All right. All right. So here is a mindset strategy. And this is just some things that I threw up that I think people can make a plan. We talked about this, right? So practice stepping into the things that scare you. Here are some actual practical things that you can do to manage these fears and things. Practice stepping into things that scare you. Okay. Imagine the worst case scenario and create a solution for it. Ooh, this is a good one, because most people are
That's a
scared
bar.
to go to, listen, listen. When people say, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm scared, or they give me resistance, I instantly say, well, let's just go to that moment. Let's say it fails. Then what do you do next? And most people are like, oh, well, I would just start over. Exactly. Or I would try something else. Exactly. Or I would fix this. Exactly. So there is a solution, right? There is an escape, a way out. Can you hear me still?
Yeah. Yep, we can
Good,
hear
good,
you.
good. Okay, good. One of my AirPods died. I wanted to make sure it was the right one. Okay. So imagine the worst case scenario. Sit and think about it, but don't stay there in the failure space. Then create a solution. What would you do next? Ask yourself that. And then that'll give you the confidence to move towards it. And now you already have a plan for if something goes left. The next one is there is no such thing as being fearless. So make a plan for fear. All right. Fear is just an indication that something is coming. All right. All right. All right. All right. So the next one is I want journals and dreams. I'm a big, big, big believer in writing the vision down and making it plain. I am a big believer in imagining the most successful outcome. And I am not just a believer, this is just, there is scientific evidence that shows that when people who write down their visions and their goals and their dreams, people who imagine and focus on the most positive and successful and best outcome, tend to reach those outcomes. This is science. This is proven. This is
Facts.
statistics. Okay,
Facts.
these are facts. So
Yeah, some
journal
testimonies
and
behind that
dream.
one.
Listen, journal and dream. And if you're struggling to have these things, then practice the positive. If you are a pessimistic person and the words that come out of your mouth are always tearing down, then you take the time to practice changing your language, changing your thoughts, to manage them one thought at a time. That's how you do it. So imagine your business in its most successful state. Expand that vision, dream like a child. Okay, that's my push the envelope when I said the same thing. So when you imagine it in your most successful state, I want you to expand it a little more, push, be uncomfortable a little more. Okay, make it bigger, dream bigger. All right, like a child. Then I want you to write the vision down often. Okay, that word there is important. Not just one time and fold it up and put it in the closet or under your bed, or throw it in your junk drawer. Write down often. Never stop learning, and then create a routine in your life that helps you to stay in the flow of this. All right. All right. Organizations. I want to pause here, Johnny, and I want to one
Okay.
get any feedback or questions you might have for me, and also answer that question that you have popped up before we get to the organization part of it.
Yeah. No, so I don't have any questions. The mindset piece, but I think it's basic, but it's not because you can go different. Because when you start digging that, we people got some stuff from childhood trauma,
Yes.
upbringing, environment that they're still carrying with them that's holding them back from achieving their dreams and living their best life. And I think so many people don't realize it until you start asking some questions, and next thing you know, you start going down the culture rabbit hole, and you want to start uncovering things that then people they just start like, well, I never thought about that. That this is the reason why I don't have any friends no any close friends, and this that and another. So I think it's simple, but there's so many layers to it when you start talking about your mindset and just being able to free yourself in order to give yourself every opportunity to be successful at whatever. We're talking about real estate investing, but any type of just being successful in life, period. And just being able to
Yes.
be confident to define your own success.
Yes. All of that. Yes. And I'll go even, I just want to add to that. And not just in the arena of the barriers and the traumas that hold us back, but even in the things that propel us forward, it's still deeply rooted in our childhood. One of the things in my book that I talk about is what I discovered is that almost 98 to 99% of the people that I work with, there was a moment in their childhood that identified and connected to the work that they did. So I discovered that people were either doing one of two things, right? They were either through the work that they're doing, trying to give people something that they had in abundance as a child, or giving people something that they lacked in abundance as a child. And whether it
Okay.
was security, whether it was, security, feeling safe, feeling heard, feeling seen, a place to relax, an abundance of love and money. Like when you think about the vehicle that you do as a business, what you do really is just delivering a feeling to people. And almost every time we could identify that feeling, there was a moment in their childhood that they either had it in abundance or they were lacking it. And so now they're trying to give it to others through the work that they do and didn't even know it.
Yep, I like that. Yep, that's me.
Yeah.
That's me in a nutshell. I'm guilty.
See, what is it? What is it? Did you identify it for yourself? What is it?
Yeah, it was definitely growing up, with a lack, not, hungry and barefoot type ordeal, but I think it was knowing that there was a lot more than my parents let me know there's a lot more to the world than, just walking around barefoot down these dirt roads that I grew up in and just one more. And so I think they instilled in me that hunger and that drive to like, hey, you got to go out here and go get it, and you got to be better than everybody else around you. That you're gonna have to take it to another level. That there's gonna be adversity, and you got to know that it's coming and be prepared for it. So, but I think
Yeah.
that for sure that now the next generation they don't have to worry about that. But yet still, I think the struggle is making sure that they have that work ethic. They don't have that sense of entitlement, and they can still have that hunger and grind mentality to take it forward to the next level and keep building.
I love that. I love that. No, thank you for sharing that. And I think that's something, if you're listening, that's a part of your brand. So this isn't just great conversation that we're having, even though it is, that too. This is also foundational for your brand. to be able to identify what is the feeling and the emotion that you're wanting to give, because branding is about how you make people feel through the work that you do, right? Chick-fil-A makes people feel happy and say, they're like, my pleasure. They go above and beyond to make the
Yes.
experience an experience, right? In the building, Apple makes people feel inclusive. They make them feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves, that they're a part of an elite space, which is the reason that Apple owners feel, the reason that we feel like we're better than Android users is because Apple tells us we are.
Oh, don't get me started with that. I finally got on the iPhone bandwagon last fall. So yeah.
See? And so,
But you read about Steve Jobs and how he Apple and just the community that I read about that. That's the thing that we're doing with REI Genius. We're letting people change lives through real estate, but being able to tap into their inner genius when it comes to investing and building wealth. But the whole community piece is what we're building, and the brand and recognition, and whether it's T-shirts or whether it's a phone call on your birthday, or whether it's a hat or something, a bumper sticker that you can wear, or be part of the community and let people know that, hey, you got a sense of pride when it comes to this community. Just like with Apple, like our Tesla. You look at Tesla, you don't
yes,
see any Tesla commercials or billboard.
no,
It was
no.
so, and he leveraged majority of his marketing came from Twitter, and he essentially built a cult, Elon Musk with Tesla. So
He did. He identified a thing that people wanted to belong to something. People want to feel connected to something. People, and when you think about fraternities and sororities, and I get it, there's the brotherhood and all those things, but it's a sense of belonging. And so underneath all the other stuff that we see, there is a common desire, human desire, that most of these organizations have identified and they lean into. So say all this to say, as a brand, it is in your best interest to identify that and never let go of that, and build everything in your brand on that desire. For me, it is making people feel safe, seen, and supported. That is the essence of me as a brand consultant. That is the work that I do in all of the projects and parts of my work. The basis is helping people to feel safe, seen, and supported so they can grow in branding, in business, in marketing, right? And how they show up in their spaces. That's the thing
okay,
that I
I'm
identified
taking
because
notes.
that's a need.
Yep, I'm
And it was a
taking
need
notes.
for me. It was a need for me, right?
So I'm
So
gonna
it's
bring
important.
Joe's question back up about the rebranding,
Yes.
from making that pivot from a healthcare professional to a real estate investor.
Okay, so rebranding from a health professional to a real estate investor. So the question is, because this feels like a statement, but he's asking me, how do you rebrand from a health professional? I'm just going to assume he's asking me how, right? Um, and so I think it goes back to kind of what we were saying, Joel, is the first part is you have to identify like what is your strong idea of who you are as a real estate investor, right? And I know this is like, well, I'm a real estate investor. I invest in real estate. If somebody has a property, I invest in it. And it sounds simple, but really thinking about how you want yourself, your brand, your business to feel apart from everybody else's who is a real estate investor. There are tons of real estate investors out there. So you have to think about what is the experience you want people to have. That is the first thing that I would think about. And then I would think about who specifically you're wanting to be an investor for. What type of client would you like to serve that is the ideal client? Create this avatar in a very specific way, this ideal person in a very specific way. If it's somebody you've already worked with, then do that. If you haven't worked in as a real estate investor yet and you haven't created your client, create somebody that is your ideal person. And then as you start doing the work, you might see that, oh, there's a different type of person that I'm attracting. That's called data and information. And you take that information and say, well, let me lean into this person, because every time I go out, I tend to get single parents who are, I don't know, I tend to get people who want to start a business, or I don't know, you think about who are you ideally attracting? And then when you think about who you're attracting, you think about what is their main issue and need. And as you start to do the work, then you start to build a brand. So my suggestion is, right, that you start to do the work and then you can build a brand. So many times people want to build like this solid brand and pick all these colors. If you haven't jumped into it yet, I would just jump into the flow and start letting the experience help to shape your brand. So I would pay attention to every engagement, every encounter, the people who are reaching out to you the most. And then this will help you shape who you're serving and how you're serving them. And then you find that and you lean into it. I hope that was helpful, that answered your question. I would just start by putting the feet to the pavement and doing the work, and then looking for and paying attention as you're working, who's being attracted to you, and then also how you want them to feel. What is their issues and how do you want them to leave you? How did you find them? What state emotionally, mentally were they in? And how did they leave you, or how do you want them to leave you? Elated, excited, full of joy, confident, I don't know, reassured. Do they need reassurance? Do they need confidence? Do they need guidance? They feel, are they confused when they come to you? Okay, they're got clarity when they left you. What is the feeling? Identify that.
Yeah, I think cheat code for you, Joel, just kind of knowing Joel's background, but I think his elevator pitch is, he helps medical professionals save on their taxes and build passive income to leave their professional job. So you can craft it however you want to, but for medical professionals, they need to save money on taxes and they want to eventually get out of their job. And so building passive income. So I think for that, that he helps medical professionals, save on taxes, slash their taxes, and build wealth to generate passive income. So I think,
And there it is. There it is. Johnny just gave you your unique positioning. He gave you your in that's going to separate you from tons of other investors. You lean into that. So what so many people do is somebody will tell them that and they'll go, yeah, you know what? I'm going to add that to my thing and I'm going to also help them. No, Joe, we're not also. You're going to lead with, hey, I work with medical professionals and I help them do this. Does this mean that you don't help other people who aren't medical professionals? Of course it doesn't. Because somebody else that hears that you're a real estate investor going to say, well, do you help us too? And you'd be like, sure, I do. But my niche is that I work with medical professionals and I help them to leave their job and I help them with tax breaks. That sets you apart right there. That sets you apart. And everyone that needs that is going to find you. Everyone that needs that is going to find you. And the marketing for it is way bigger. Way, way bigger. Yeah, way, way bigger than you think. All right.
Awesome.
Sweet. Okay. All right. Well, let me get through these slides. We're 47 minutes in. Is there another question out there, Johnny, before I go through the organization part?
We did have one more question. You scroll
Is
up.
it a now question, or you think we should wait?
Just setting yourself apart from the crowd. So I think you kind of, you talked a little bit about that, about the positioning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I did touch on that. So it would just be redundant, but a little bit of that is going to come up a little later too. So I'll address it there too. But yeah, setting yourself apart from the crowd is basically what we just did for Joel. Like 100%. It is finding your niche, finding what makes you unique, leaning into the thing that people really come to you for. Or, for instance, one of my realtors, we kind of narrowed down what their thing was, that they felt like after they told me some things about their childhood, they made the statement. They said, well, I think I just feel like having a home is the foundation for any good family. Well, that was her unique position, is that she wants to put people in homes for people who feel like they want to foundationally build a family. Because everybody that gets a home isn't a family person, right? But she wanted to lean into people who felt like having a home meant this is the foundation for me building my family. So she wanted to target people in the marketplace that were families that wanted to build their lives in homes, right? There are way more people out there looking for homes, but she wanted to lean into that, and that became her area of expertise. So just think about what it is you want to lean into. Okay, so organization. Let's talk about this. Okay, good. Organization, systems, investing in.
Yep, we lost you.
I know, my AirPods go in and out.
That's good.
Okay, there we go. All right. Shout out to my AirPods. I haven't used them in a while. I cheated on them with some Beats, and then I'm just now using these again. So
those janky Apple products. See?
I'm here for it. So systems, investing in systems equals growth. I just want to reiterate: if you are scared of systems, get over it. Because technology is here to assist us and aid us, and so look for different ways, from scheduling appointments to using systems to help you grow. We're going to talk about content, having a plan for your content. We talked about this earlier. Have a plan. Even if the plan changes, put something on paper, okay? Don't just jump in your car and start driving and you don't know where you're going or how you're going to get there, okay? Then build a team, the right people, training, and community. Let's break this down. Systems. These are some of the systems that you want to have. You want to have some quality control systems. You want to have some systems that help you with quality control. Like, are people DMing you to set up appointments? No, they should not be. Bless you. They should not be DMing you to set up appointments. Okay. You should put systems in place to help ensure that the journey that people go on to get to you is an easy one, that it is not difficult to connect to you, that it is not a hard process to figure out what you offer or how you can help them, or information is not cumbersome, that you want to make sure that it's easy and simple and clear. Okay. Create information on a page as if you're speaking to a 5-year-old. Okay. And then give them all the heavy stuff on the back end. Okay. Make things very clear on the front end. Next one is task management systems. Okay. You want to have task management systems that helping you with tasks, whether it's Calendly, whether it's Google Calendar, whether it's a to-do list app, or whether it is a project management tool like Trello, right? Finding systems that help you with time management, scheduling and all that good jazz. The last one is automated income systems. What systems are you using for your automated income? Okay, how are you collecting money? How are the funds being flown? How are you managing that money? The next thing is content. Okay, here's some content apps that we could use, but essentially in having a plan for content, we're about to break that down, so I'm not going to go too heavy in it, but here are some apps you could use when it comes to social media: SquareFit, Instadown, Evernote, Mojo, Eraser. Okay, so Eraser erases things. Mojo helps you with some of your videos and your marketing content that you put on your social media. I use Evernote to take notes. Sometimes when I'm jotting down ideas. I also use Trello now more than I use Evernote. I use Evernote with my clients actually to keep all their information. Instadown and SquareFit are some Instagram apps that help you with Instagram information, not information, but Instagram posts that help to clean up your posts and make them look aesthetically cute. And also since I've updated this, I haven't updated this recently, but I can think of some other ones that I use. I know people use CapFit a lot. That's a really popular one now. And so there's just so many apps out there, honestly, and you can just try them out and see what works for you when it comes to content. The last one is build a team. Okay. And what I mean by team is it could look like anything. People that are helping you to execute the plan, whether they work in your business or they're just people in your life that you could put into place to help make your life smoother. Okay. So the right people, constant training, and building community with them is how you maintain a team. I think people struggle to build teams. There's a book called The Secret of Teams by Mark Miller. It's a great book, and he breaks this down. Basically, this is the meat of it, but it's so good. You should read it. There's so much to gain from reading a book. It's an easy read. It's told in a story format, and it's about having the right people. Here are the 3 things that make a great team. Having the right people, right, which means people that are trainable, right, that are teachable. And then constant training, which is your job to make sure that they have the tools and things they need to succeed to help you. Right. And then building community. What does that look like? Caring about the person that's in your space, doing life with them, having conversations with them outside of just work. Okay. Building a connection. I know in 2023, this is like, what? A connection that doesn't involve a DM. Yes. An actual conversation with a human being about something that is happening in their life, and to act concerned with facial expressions and feedback. Okay. That's how you build community.
I love it.
All right.
People take that for granted, but that goes a long way.
Yes.
And I think the military, that's one thing that we usually get right with the community. And we had a cliche, no man left behind. And, I got your six. You got the wingman concept where you got your army, you got your battle buddy. and where they always checking on each other, checking in on the family. And it's, it's different when you have to deploy and go off to war. You're away from family, then all the family is taking care of one another. You got a little bit more sense, tight knit community. And that's why I think why so many veterans struggle outside the military service, because they lose that community when they walk away and retire, or they separate. They're going out into this world that could care less about that, or they go to a company or employer who's could care less about the community. They just want you to meet your
Yeah.
quota, and and you better be here on time and show up on Wednesday and Thursday when you're supposed to
Yeah.
be in the office and not teleworking. And that's it.
Yeah. 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 And this is all a part of your brand. I think that's another thing that people don't think about, because they're like, Miranda, when we get to the brand part, this whole thing has been about the brand, because all of this is going to ensure that your brand and your experience, the experience that your people have with you, and you doing what you need to do to make sure they have a good experience, that they experience you by having a team that makes everything in the process smooth and that helps you to show up in your best ability. Every touch point that people have with you, how they feel connected to your brand and your business, is branding. And so all of this matters. This is the behind the curtains things that you need to do to make your brand show up immaculate. It's not just about picking colors and picking the right social media app and hiring a social media person and posting the right pictures and taking photo shoots. All that stuff is at the end once you've done all these things, right? So this is the meat of how your brand shows up. And then you pull back the curtain and there's one guy back there like on the Wizard of Oz running all the things. Okay, you are the guy, but this is the behind the curtain stuff, so that the yellow brick road looks like the yellow brick road does when you're hopping down it.
And it's
Okay.
funny you say that, but for a lot of real estate investors, especially the ones that's on the active side, but that's how we start. That we're sending the text messages, we're making the phone calls to the homeowners. We're doing the disposition. We're working with the title company once we get something under contract, and we're managing the contractors, or we may even be doing the work ourselves and not even hiring the right contractors. And so a lot of times we start off and kind of nobody can do it as good as I can. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for a lot of investors that start off is resources, not having
Yeah.
access to capital to where they can hire someone. And so they have to kind of start
Yes.
and just kind of grind it out and start and as a hustle, a side hustle, and transition to, being a full fledged small business, a business plan where you can go to the credit union and actually look somebody in their face and have a business plan and let them know that, hey, this is the data, this is the products that we're selling, this is what we're doing, and have a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. So these are the things: systems, content, and building a team. All right. Let's talk about branding and marketing. I want to jump into that. But before, Johnny, do we have any more questions that have dropped down since we've been talking about anything we've said so far?
Uh, no questions. We'll talk about systems. We had somebody came up a good one about AI. What are the thoughts about regarding AI for content?
Yes. Yes. So that's a great question. This goes back to using technology. Listen, it's phenomenal. Use it. Now, this is what I want to tell you. Use it responsibly is the thing, right? So this is a thing
Yes.
with AI is to use it responsibly. First of all, when you're thinking about things like Chat GPT, so let's take that for instance, because that's like the big thing that everyone's, and there's so many of them now. I mean, holy tamale, like there's so many of them that do so many different things. I currently am playing with three of them. I can only handle three at this point, and Chat GPT is one of them. I just found another one, another system. It's called, oh shoot, what is called? What is it called? Let me find it real quick. Oh, it's called Hey Pie, and but the guy really broke down how to use it. And for people who don't understand it, it can get a little frustrating because it's really questioning you. It's almost like a conversation. It's almost like a coach. It's really interesting. So I'm playing around with these three. But for those of you who might not be familiar with Chat GPT, maybe you are totally like technology just kind of overwhelms you, and maybe you have no clue what I'm talking about. Chat GPT is an AI tool and system that essentially you can ask it anything and it will give you any type of response based on data that goes back to a certain year, right? It can only go back so far, and sometimes that information, because it's in data in the beta form, might not be accurate, which is what I mean by use it responsibly. And of course, also it's in a test run, so sometimes you can start to sound maybe like other people. It might start to sound generic. They might be dishing out kind of the similar answers and responses to other people, and so you really have to just talk to it in the right way. So my thoughts on AI for content: I have been doing this for a while and I have been writing captions. I know I can write a caption. I have nothing to prove. I know I can formulate an email. I have nothing to prove. I know I can do these things. But when you have somebody that can help you to formulate these things, it's like having an assistant. Why wouldn't we use it? So I say to go ahead and use it and to ask it to do tasks that you wouldn't want to do, things that you ask your assistant to do, and it would do it. From drafting up contracts to MOUs to helping you brainstorm ideas for an outline for an event. And then what you should do as a responsible human being is take what it gives you and then make it your own, right? Fix and adjust, give it your voice, give it your sound, soften it up, put it in conversational tone, even though you can ask it to be more conversational. You can ask ChatGPT to be more engaging. You can ask ChatGPT to use emojis, right? You can literally tell it to do anything you want and it'll do it for the most part. And you can create that and then you bring it and then give it your brand voice. Don't take these AI tools and copy and paste without making any adjustments into your brand, because these AI tools, and until it gets acclimated, I mean, some of them do get acclimated with your voice, but that takes a whole different type of thought process as a person doing this. Like I feel like only marketers and brand consultants are good at getting the AI tool to get the voice, because we know the little things to do to make it have our voice. But if you don't know how to do that and you're just putting in content, make sure that it's talking to your audience the way you're talking to your audience, right? That you don't start to sound super generic and dry and So that's my thoughts about AI. I think it's great. I
Nice.
think you should use it. I think it's amazing, but I think you should use it responsibly, and it doesn't take away your involvement in making sure that it aligns with your brand, whatever it gives you. Mhm. It would be just like you training a person you brought in to help you with your business. Like, you got to tell them everything. And so you got to tell them, this is how my brand is. This is who our audience is. This is who we talk to. So if you're going to use AI, you got to treat it like a person and say, hey, this is what my brand feel is. And honestly, you just responsibly, going back to being responsible, you can put that in there when you're asking it for things. Hey, my brand is playful, it's fun, it's engaging. We are doing this. Can you help me write X, Y, and Z? Can you help me do X, Y, and Z? Or can you create this for me? What does it look like? And these AI tools are going to remember it. Now, at the end of the day, if you're worried about, this technology is going to have access to what if anybody in 2023 is still talking about trying to hold back their privacy. Like, we literally at this point, we have no privacy. And so I think you're delusional, because you just might as well cut off all communication and move to the woods.
Right.
And even then you're findable. So
Yep.
even then. So at this point, we have just surrendered and sold our souls to AI, to just being out here in this world and accessible. So the best thing is to adjust. All right. What are your thoughts about AI, Johnny? What are your thoughts about that? Any of that?
Yeah, most definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head for being able to craft it into your own brand. I use it for email and for posts as well too. So we phase that in to help with the copy. So, but that's the thing. It's just an assistant, and it's 75% of the solution.
Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. I was like, oh well, they got us, because whenever they say pay, I'm gonna pay. I'm paying. I'm like, they got me. I'm bit. So yeah.
Right.
All right. So so branding and marketing. Let's get into it. All right. This has been fun. And we're wrapping it up here. So unique brand voice. We talked about this. We've touched on this throughout. So this will kind of feel like a recap. But who are you talking to? I think is very important. Like I've said over and over again, and I say it over and over again because it's extremely important. At the end of the day, your brand and your business is not about you. It is for the people you serve. So you need to know who this person is. You need to know who they are in an intimate way, how to help them and serve them. So what is your unique voice? What emotional need do you resolve for this person? What is their issue? What is their hang up? It is very important that you understand that and identify your unique voice. And we talked about that earlier and how to do that. And we actually did that for someone that was that Joel in the audience that had a question. Then the second thing is organizing your message. What is your mission? What is your vision? What is your core beliefs as an organization? If you don't have a mission, a vision, a core beliefs, it's okay. Just keep looking at your screen and blink. Nobody knows I'm talking to you, but you can get a mission, a vision, and a core belief. Your mission can be in the format of this is who we are, this is who we do it for, and this is why we do it. We do blank for blank because blank, right? You can start out with that simple mission. And this is one of the biggest hangups I see in with the mission statements, and I'll touch this and I'll run, is that listen, most people don't see your mission statement, that your mission statement realistically, honestly, isn't for your audience. Because can you tell me the mission statement of any of your favorite organizations or businesses or brands? Not a one, probably. The mission statement is a touch point for you and your organization to never forget what you believe in, who it's for, who you serve, and how you serve them. Your mission statement is for people in your community that you're in your team who you're bringing on to be a part of your organization, so that they can understand culturally what's important to your audience, to your business, who you guys serve, and who it's for. So these are the things that are extremely important for you to remember, is that the mission statement doesn't have to sound super articulate. It doesn't have to be super cumbersome. It doesn't have to be super intelligent or so loaded that people have to read it 3 times to even understand what it is you do. That serves nobody. It doesn't make you sound smarter. It doesn't help the impact if people don't even understand what it is you do by reading your mission statement. If it doesn't pass, like Donald Miller said, the caveman, the grunt test, right? If a caveman can't look at it and go, oh, I know what that is, then you might want to revamp it. Okay. It's too much. What was that you put up there, Johnny? That was your mission?
Yep, that's our mission statement. We change lives through real estate.
I love
for
it.
the community.
Go ahead. Through the community and what else?
Yeah, no, yeah. So through the community and everything that we do for the coaching aspect, with the consulting and the education, that it's all driving to teach people the real estate fundamentals, teach them how to find a deal, fix it, and then execute their exit strategy, whether it's keeping it, whether it's selling it. And and I'm a true believer that if they do that, you get that first deal, the second deal, third deal, that you're going to build wealth and you're going to be able to change your lives and the next generation's lives.
I love it. I love it. We change lives through real estate. So organizing that message, identifying your vision, your core beliefs. What is the impact with the vision? Ask yourself, what is the impact that you hope to have in this world as a result of the work that you do? And then identify core beliefs. What do you believe as an organization? What is it that you stand on? What is important to you when it comes to this world? And what you guys believe is important with the work that you do. And then the last one is, what is your strategy? All right. Get people to know, like, and trust you. What is your strategy when it comes to social media? What is your plan? Okay. How do you break that down? What are some things that you can do to stand out? And how do you begin to get that message out? Once we identify your unique message, organize the message, now we can, we can amplify, we can talk about our mission in pieces, not just by plastering the mission statement on your social media, but taking that mission and saying, how do we implement that through our organization? I know people have their issues with Chick-fil-A off and on when it comes to the political side, but I don't care anything about that. Let's just look at how they operate as a brand. Chick-fil-A's mission. Johnny, do you know their mission? I think did I talk about this at the last training?
I don't think so.
Okay, let's get into it. Do you know Chick-fil-A's mission statement? If you had to guess, what is it?
No clue. But it's serving somebody.
Come on, say it. Get it out. Get it out. Let the spirit use you. Okay.
I don't know, but I think, with the founder, that they're always, trying to bring reference to Christianity, to God, and the service side of it. So what is it?
Okay, you're good. You're closer than most people. You're closer than most people. Their mission is to glorify God by having a positive influence on everybody that connects to Chick-fil-A. that everybody that encounters Chick-fil-A. That's it. So their goal is to have a
Yeah.
positive influence with every person. They sell chicken. They sell chicken. And their mission is to have a positive influence and impact on everybody that encounters our chicken hut. Right? So this is what I'm saying. Your brand is about how you make people feel through your products and service, right? Right. So you think it's to serve people, but it's just to have they just want to have a positive impact and influence with everybody that they touch. That's their mission. Okay. And through that, they do it by serving people. By when I pull up and I say I want 17 sauces, they go, well, what kind do you want? Then I don't get no attitude. They don't tell me, no, ma'am, we can't do that. Do you know? And I tell people this, and I feel like I'm just putting them out there, that also, if you pull up to the window and either you lost your wallet or don't have enough money, that they're not allowed to not give you the food. They give you the food. It happened to me. And then the more I shared this story in public, people were like, oh, it happened to me too. And then somebody told me that worked there, they said, yeah, we're that's a part of the training. Like if somebody pulls up for whatever reason, we don't deny people food, like period.
Wow. And just think about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna piggyback off that. Just think about what that does with that brand and everything. Who's not gonna come back if they treat you like that?
Yes, absolutely. Somebody told me they saw a Chick-fil-A worker jump out the window because somebody forgot something at the drive-thru. I don't know if that was for real, but that's what they told me they saw. And then also when I was in radio, I remember when all the uproar was going about the CEO talking about, his beliefs about, marriage being between a man and a woman. And there was all this backlash with the LGBTQI community. And when they were protesting outside of their thing, outside the Chick-fil-A's, it was hot during that time of the year. And I remember reading an article that said that the Chick-fil-A employees were bringing them food and water. So outside the politics, I think it had, and maybe it was a PR stunt, maybe, but also brand. It could also have just been, this is who we are as a brand. Like we're okay. Because Popeyes wouldn't have brought us no chicken if we was protesting them. Okay. All right. I know that to be true. You just would have smolted in the heat. All right. So that's that. So what is your strategy? How are you getting your message out? Let's get back on track here. How are you getting your message out? Getting people to know, like, and trust you with your social media. And that could look like sharing information about who you are, engaging with your audience in a fun and loving way, and then sharing information, valuable information. How do you love on them? What is the strategy for how you execute the mission? All right. And show that up in your business. All right, we're almost done. I just want to identify these items: the unique brand voice. Every brand has a bigger purpose and cause behind it. What is the impact that you want to have on this world with the work that you do? That's a way that you can think about trying to identify your unique voice. Your target audience: when you are talking to everyone, you are talking to no one. So remember, focusing on a very specific person. When I am writing captions, I still always do it through my phone because it feels like I'm sending a text message to one person. You want to make it sound personable. I use words like you instead of y'all and hey, everyone. If I go live, I imagine I'm talking to one person. This entire time I've been talking to one person. I've been talking to Johnny too, but ideally in the conversation, I'm thinking about one person as I talk. I'm not thinking about the ton of people that are listening. Okay. It makes it sound like I'm having a conversation with you. You want to make it personable. Organizing your message. You want the, create an elevator pitch. Know who you serve and the emotional need that you meet for them. I've said that over and over again this evening. And then have a social media strategy. You are courting your target person. You are dating them, getting them to know, like, and trust you so that you can land the deal, seal the deal, whatever that looks like for you. Okay. And then post under the know, like, and trust categories and repeat that. Let them know who you are when you're posting. Post things that make them like you and get to know you as an organization. And then, repeat that. Okay. We want to have the audacity to change the way that we do business. Branding is all about the feels. So connect purpose to people. All right. So this is very important. Connecting purpose to people. I think it's important. Have the audacity to show up differently as a real estate agent. I have a list right here of audacity when it comes to real estate agents. I want to list off a few things that real estate agents specifically can do to make them stand out from the crowd that they might not be thinking about. I want to yell out that list before I click to the next slide. That's really my wrap up slide. Do we have any more questions though, Johnny, or do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't have any questions. But I think the big takeaway, especially for agents and investors, that you are your brand, especially starting out. That people do business with people that they like and trust, like you said. And so I think you
Yes.
got to just figure out how you position yourself, what's unique about you, and what's the benefit of somebody working with you, and why they should come and work with you versus someone else.
Yes, very, very important. And I'm glad you said that because one of the things before I get into this list, the top tier of this list is as a real estate agent to create a personal brand. And if you have shied away from creating a personal brand, this is the time to lean into creating a personal brand and persona, right? Because at the end of the day, unless you have a big company and organization, that people are going to want to do business with you and that they're leaning in to do business with you. And so they have to know, like, and trust you as their agent. And so what are you creating in connection wise to make them want to work with you? And so I think that is super important that you create a personal brand as a real estate agent. Okay. And so here are a couple of things I'm gonna throw out there as ideas that you can pick up and do as a real estate agent. One is you can start a podcast. Okay, I'm gonna start with the heavy hitting stuff. If you are technology wait, I can't even say it, technically savvy, or maybe that's the way to say it, and you can start a podcast, or somebody that can create and produce a podcast for you, start a podcast, start positioning yourself as the authority, as the expert in what you do by creating content that gives out information. Or you can start a YouTube channel, right? That is another one that you can do. A YouTube channel, if a podcast is too cumbersome and it's too many moving pieces, or you don't have the capacity to do that, you can start a YouTube channel. The next one under that is you can just start going live on your social media, sharing out content and information. All right. So these are the different tiers of ways you can position yourself as an expert with their broadcast. If you're expert level, start a podcast. If you're right below that, you want to do YouTube, you can record a video and upload it and give it a title and consistently do that, and then start to get better at it as you grow. Or if you don't want to do that, just go live on your social media channels, but have a plan with each one of these, what you're talking about, the information that you're giving out, and how you're giving it out. Okay. All right. The next thing you can do is you can write an ebook. Okay. If you want to do that, you can write an ebook and create information, give information, and then put it out there. The goal with writing an ebook is to not take the low hanging fruit. Okay. Don't write an ebook about what everybody else is writing an ebook about. Don't write an ebook about how to get investors or how to do whatever. Think about a real problem that you encounter all the time with your clients that is always a question, and then write an ebook about how to do that step by step. Find the thing that most people are struggling with and then give out information about it. Okay. Um, Niche down. We talked about that earlier. Find your niche. And then you can also create a very unique business card that stands out. For real estate agents, having a business card that looks different. Do your personal branding that looks different. And by doing a personal branding, hire an image stylist. Okay. Not just somebody who's gonna dress you and make you look, super rich and professional. You just want to have an actual image stylist who can help you think about what you want your audience to feel, how you can wear colors and clothes that implement that feeling. Okay. It gets really deep, like the psychological aspects of the visual mind and how it's affected by how we show up, by what colors we have on, the tone of our voice, our hand and body movement, all that stuff matters. So you can hire somebody to help you with that if you could do that. Also, I want to encourage you, you can connect to influencers in your community, right? Influencers, like people who have a large following and a trusted relationship with their audience, which is the important part. What is their relationship like with their audience? And then connect with these influencers and pay them to help you to promote your business. And I say pay them because they are a form of marketing and advertisement. It would be similar to you paying for an article in a newspaper, or an article on a website, or a spot on a website, or a radio ad, or a television commercial. Influencers done in the right manner can be the same form of marketing to an audience, but it's even better because they have a trusted relationship with their audience, and their audience is going to take their word and lean more into it. Okay. Okay. And it's your job to give them the context in which they talk about your business. It's not just, hey, mention me. It is, hey, maybe here are a couple of things you can say about my business. And then this is a promo we're doing. And they can click on this link, and you can get you a bit.ly link and see how many people actually clicked on the link that was in their profile. There's so many ways you can manage this. You can go to bit.ly, bit.lylink.com, and then you can create a specific link that signs people up for your business, right? And then you can give it to the influencer to see how it's working and say, hey, can you put this in your bio, and tell people to go to your bio to click, and you can see how many people they actually sent to your stuff from them, right? You can see the number of hits and to see how many people you got from them. So there's so many ways to do this, to use an influencer. Okay. And then this is one that I thought was really interesting. And I was listening to something and someone said this, that you can also go national with your brand, that there are people that are moving to your area from out of state that are interested in the area, and most people stay local and they're looking for local business when it comes to real estate, but you can go national and think about the people that are moving into the area that want to know more. And so think about expanding your brand outside your marketplace to reach those people that are thinking about moving to your area, especially if you're living in a high traffic area now, like Austin, Texas, or Nashville, if you're living in those spaces where people seem to be flocking to right now, or Atlanta. All right. I'm gonna skip past these more random tips about marketing. These are just some cool things that I thought I said on social media, and so I repeated them. And if you want to take a screenshot of those, you can. Uh but about marketing, about consistency, shame, and focus, just some real quotable moments and some things to keep in your arsenal to help keep you focused when it comes to shame, when it comes to focus, and when it comes to consistency and marketing. Okay. And also, if you like those quotes, there are more of my rambles in a book that I created. Okay, so you can also go to Amazon and purchase my book as well. And it helps you to identify what makes your brand stand out, organizing your message, talks more in depth about the elevator pitch and about strategies for social media. It breaks down a lot of what we talked about tonight, a little bit more in a conversational way. Some of the things people have said about this is that it feels like they're having a conversation with me, that it feels like a warm hug, that this is really insightful and helpful for people who are just starting out with their brand or really trying to get their footing. It's great foundational information. So there's that if you want that. And then the biggest thing I want to leave people with is that you have to start messy to get better. Okay, so let's change the way that we do business. People are so focused on starting and being perfect when they start, but you're doing things you haven't done before. You have to give yourself grace that you're not going to be doing everything right. And so the only way you're going to get better, not perfect, the only way you're going to get better is if you start messy. So give yourself permission to just be messy, make mistakes, and figure it out, because that's what we're all out here doing, just figuring it out. That's it, period. And that's it. That's it. That's all I got.
Awesome, awesome. I definitely appreciate it. I learned a lot. I'm taking notes. I'm actually in Chicago right now. I got to speak tomorrow, so my brain was kind of going through how I can refine my message and
I love it.
do some things and really speak to the fear. So no, I definitely appreciate it. And I know everybody else that got some of the comments coming in that they took some value away from tonight too. And yeah, we got to bring you back and talk. Maybe do like a hour workshop or something for the community and bring you in and figure out something in the future.
Yeah, let's do it. I do workshops around burnouts right now. I do workshops around mindset and goal setting, which was what you experienced. Oh, thank you. What you experienced, which was the mindset and goals setting one. And then I also, yeah, I do leadership workshops. Yeah, it varies. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
All
Oh, well,
right.
thank you. I appreciate all that love. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad my rambling made some sense and an impact.
No, for sure, for sure. I definitely appreciate it. And then for those that are interested in joining up my mentorship community, definitely take a look there at the QR code where you can join there. And yeah, come out and hang out with us. We're all about building community, and we got your back. and give you the resources that you need to be successful when it comes to real estate, because that's what it's all about. So, Miranda, thank you again. I can't say it enough. I definitely appreciate you coming out, talking to my geniuses, and giving us game on branding and marketing. And yeah, and just let us know whatever we can do to help you in the future. And then I know we'll have you back here soon before the end of the
Absolutely.
year.
Absolutely. And if anyone would like to connect and work with me one-on-one, I am doing one-on-one at classes with small business owners, but I'm also starting a group coaching program that is starting up in July. And the marketing for that is rolling, but you can't right now at this moment sign up for the group coaching program on my website. So it is where you can sign up for it. So it's my website, it's just my first and last name.com, and then they can sign up there. All right.
Okay. Perfect.
All right.
All right. And I know and they can follow you on all the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. They can find you out there as well too to tag up with you. Okay, perfect.
Everywhere. It's my name. MARANDAJOINER. All A's in my first name. If you spell it a different way, you're gonna find somebody else. It's not gonna be me. And she might be fairer skinned than I am.
Yep. All good. Well, thank you again, and everybody for tapping in tonight. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. Let's go make some equity happen. Take care.